Morning, everybody. What a gorgeous morning it is outside. Absolutely beautiful. I'm here with my friend Daisy. Chose a daisy this morning because it's the happiest of all flowers. It just has a way of just looking at you and with this gentle smile and this kind of whimsical um, motion as the wind just subtly um, kind of touches it and it dances. It has a sway about it. It has just this way to just relax and be at peace, and um, with this just beautiful little grin. So, isn't that what we're supposed to be? Kind of flowers planted where God has put us to bring beauty and fragrance and peace to anyone who would, any passerby. We have the phrase that we need to take the time to stop and smell the roses. Um, there's been this stop in motion that we're all a part of, and it's a dilemma, and it's for some of us it's been really tough. And I'm not in any way going to make light of any of that. I think there's empathy to be had, and sympathy and mercy, and those of us who have not maybe struggled in some areas as others have, look for an opportunity um, to bring our resources to bear, to bring relief, and to bring um, uh, I don't know, comfort, uh, even to sit quietly. At the same time, what I want to make sure we're doing is we're not missing out on the opportunity in front of us, um, and that is to stop and smell the roses, stop and uh, enjoy the emerging of spring, the emerging of life, um, the quiet um, that is afforded us if we're willing to look for it, to seek it, to pursue it, to enjoy it, and to practice it. Today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at what it is to be a peacemaker. It's one thing for us to, I recently said that one of the strongest admonitions in the entire New Testament is to tell us to seek and pursue peace, not to seek it, to look for it, to find it, and that pursuit then is then to chase it down like a hunter, uh, running after its prey, to secure it, to once securing it, to apprehend it, and then to make it. There we go. Maybe that's better. My wife just came in to tell me that my. Okay, check it again. Is that better? Let me look at the. Can you hear me better now? Tuning my phone, but they don't realize it. Although, okay, so what was I saying? Oh, so so this idea of pursuing, is that better, Cher? All right, my wife is watching in the living room, telling me that's better. So forgive me. I didn't realize my mic was turned down a little bit there. Um, you're welcome. So this idea of the daisy and the idea of it's just a happy flower. It sways in the breeze. It looks at you with a smile. It has this gentle demeanor. Nothing alert. Nothing seems to shake a daisy. It just seems to just sway, and it just seems to enjoy life and to smile and to live a life of mirth and whimsical happiness. I think that's the same type of life that Jesus has called us to live. And I'm not talking. I'm just talking about just being planted where growing where you're planted and bringing the beauty and the fragrance that God has made us to bring. And this is something I want to make sure that we all grasp. We've talked recently about peace and pursuing it and seeking it, and not just seeking it in a way to look for it and find it, but then to pursue it in a way we apprehend it and grab it and secure it and then practice it. So today what I want to do is, I really want to talk to us about having first of all, making that a regular part of our lives, that daily, I don't know about you, I have to every day, I have to stop my heart, stop my mind, and I have to recognize what's going on inside of me and re-seek and re-pursue peace. Anybody else? Anybody else feel that way? Like there's a moment in time you just want to strangle somebody, or there's a moment in time you just want to throw the tool in your hand. And there's a moment in time when you just want to throw your hands up in the air and walk away. You want to argue, you want to complain, you want to grumble, you want to do all these things. I don't know about you, but I catch myself in the middle of that. I'm like, dude, really? You have all this, you have everything going for you. You're a child of God. You have every opportunity right now to enjoy his presence and to bring grace to the people around you. And what are you doing? Right? So this idea of seeking, pursuing, securing, and practicing peace. Now, what I want to talk about is, listen, are we peacemakers? Are we bringing peace? Will we bring peace? Now, I will say that we can only bring peace if we have peace. And so practicing peace is really, really important. It's a daily, it's a moment-to-moment circumstantial thing. There is not a moment in time when we don't have to grab this thing and grab our heart, grab our minds, reminded of the truth, settled in to where we are in the moment, because each moment is its own thing. You can only be where you are now. I'm going to repeat that. You can only be where you are now. You can't be anywhere else but where you are. And so if you are where you are, be what you need to be where you are. That's it. What do I need to be where I am? I need to be a daisy. I need to have a whimsical kind of attitude and mirth about me. I need to have a gentle smile. I need to sway with the movements of the circumstance, but not in such a way that it knocks me down, or not in such a way that it overwhelms me, but that I'm flexible and adaptable and I adjust. And then I bring beauty and happiness like a daisy to the people around me. And I'm a guy. So men, if you're listening to me, this is not anything feminine. This is just beauty. This is just happiness. This is bringing peace. So Matthew 5:9 says this: Blessed are the peacemakers, or those who make peace. Happy is the one who brings peace, makes peace. Now listen to this. They'll be called children of God. I think that's a pretty awesome moniker. To imagine being seen in such a way that that person, he's a child of God. And that person, she's a child of God. That's not a bad thing to be called. So what is a peacemaker? What is a peacemaker? One, it's one who loves peace. How much do we love peace? I think sometimes we're addicted to complaining. Sometimes we're addicted to grumbling. Sometimes we're addicted to arguing. Sometimes we're addicted to needing to be right. Sometimes we're addicted to having to make sure that other people know that we're right. Sometimes I think we're addicted to just being grumpy. And so many of our conversations end up being conversations of commiseration. This idea of getting somebody to join us in our misery and then be miserable together. And then anybody who comes near us gets to join us in that misery. I don't know if that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to learn to love peace. We're commanded to seek and pursue peace and to love peace. Now, it's interesting to me. You've heard, if you've been around me very long, you've heard this before. God doesn't command us to do anything that we already do naturally. He doesn't command us to do anything that we do naturally. So I'm assuming that because we're not at peace naturally, he tells us emphatically, pursue peace. Seek it, pursue it, apprehend it, and then love it. Now he has to tell us not to grumble and complain. He has to tell us not to argue or to sin in our anger. Well, why is that? Because that's a natural inclination we have. So this idea of loving peace is first and foremost having to recognize that we have it, that the Prince of Peace came to bring peace and to establish peace with mankind. And therefore, I now in Christ have peace with God. And because of that, I can be at peace even in the midst of my circumstances. And being at peace, I have to protect that peace by remembering the truth, which is what? God does love me. He does care for me. He did pursue me. He sought me out. He pursued me, right? He apprehended me. He secured me, and he made me his own. Isn't that crazy? That's what God did. Now he's saying, now you do the same. And I am the Prince of Peace. So seek me, pursue me, apprehend me, secure me, practice your relationship with me. Now take that into other relationships. Isn't that fantastic? Here's why this is so important. Again, our natural inclination is to complain, to grumble, to argue, to want people to commiserate with us. Well, why might that be? Well, because for the most part, this world is a place of trouble. We are all having trouble. And when we find somebody else who's having trouble the way we're having trouble, it makes me feel bad because at least maybe I'm not crazy. But what we forget is there's a moment where that's okay. 2 Corinthians 1 says, comfort others with the comfort you've received. So you join them in their area by compassion and mercy. You realize you sit with them for a moment in their pain, but then what we're supposed to do is convert that into a moment of comforting, bringing peace. We have to realize that most people, not only are they living in the midst of trouble looking for somebody to commiserate, they don't trust God that he actually cares, or that he actually loves them, or he's actually a God of peace. Many people, especially in the world around us, think God is an ogre. He's just grumpy and he's distant and he's cold and he doesn't hear us. The truth is, when we speak the truth in love, when we're actually peacemakers who bring peace, who love peace and bring peace, this is what the truth is and that we can bring, providing we're practicing peace. To people who think God is an ogre or distant or cold or just some sort of, just an overseer of the universe who happens to just set it in motion and not care about what happens in it, we can say to them, no, that's not true. See, God actually is a God of peace, and he loves peace. And he sought me, and he pursued me, and he apprehended me, and he secured me. God is a God of peace, and he came to bring peace. And in bringing peace, he made peace. He established peace with mankind. He invites us to himself. He longs to relieve us of our own guilt and shame, to meet us in our hurt, to commiserate with us for a moment, but then to bring us out by forgiving us and teaching us how to live in life and love with him and with others, that we would bring the kingdom of peace forward, the peace of God to man, now established in man through Jesus, and then lived out in the world. We can be oases of peace. So when we love peace, we're loving God. When God has established peace in us, now we have peace. We get then to bring peace wherever we go, and we can learn to make peace. And when we do that, we show ourselves as children of God. That's what he meant. Blessed is the one, happy is the one, blessed by God, and enviable is the one who has peace with God, has pursued it, has apprehended it, loves it, and now brings it and makes peace. So what do we do? Well, we do what we said before. We seek it, we pursue it, we practice it, we love it. But now we need to bring it into the lives of others, which means we have to speak the truth in love. Well, what is the truth? The first truth we speak in love isn't that I'm honest and I'm honest with you lovingly. No, the first truth is God does love you. He does care. You do matter to him. He desires peace with you. He wants you to reside in and with him, and he's looking forward to dancing with you in the kingdom. That's speaking the truth in love. That's caring enough about the person who is in anguish and who's hurting, who the world's troubles have completely, utterly overwhelmed, and bringing them peace. Now, here's the other thing. We have to be careful that when we do this in love. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 3 reminds us. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 3 reminds us of this, that we can have the power of angels and the Spirit, right? We can have the words of the prophet or God. So we have this power. We speak this truth. We can give everything up. We can be a social minister where we even give our body to the flames. But if we don't have love, none of that gains anything. None of that does anything. In fact, all of that becomes offensive. And so in our having made peace with God, we now have the peace of God in us. We can now bring that peace to make peace by speaking truth lovingly. As God has spoken to my heart with love to bring me peace, now I have the privilege of speaking to the hearts of others that same peace by speaking in love. So now how do we do this? I'm just going to mention a couple things here. First of all, we have to be at peace. which means, remember, I talked about the fact that through the day I have to apprehend some things. I have to apprehend peace almost minute by minute, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a really grumpy guy. I'm easily frustrated. My temper can be really quick, and if it wasn't for Jesus, I'd be a complete disaster. And so I have to practice peace. So I need to be at peace with God and others. I need to pursue it. I need to practice it. So that's the first thing I have to do. I have to set up this pattern in my life, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So now I want to bring peace wherever I go. Having practiced peace, now I bring peace with me. So I need to be, so here's the process. So I'm being careful to guard my peace. I have to be alert and aware of the condition of my own heart and my mind's thoughts. What are the emotions in my heart? And what are the thoughts in my mind? So what do I have to do? I have to be alert and sober, as First Peter put it, right? And I need to be aware of what's going on around me, but mostly I have to be aware of what's going on in me. So I have to listen to myself. Am I complaining? Am I grumbling? Am I arguing? Am I agitated? Am I easily frustrated? All those things I have to recognize. I have to see it, catch it, apprehend it, slay it. I have to seek peace and pursue it. And I have to be reminded constantly of this truth. And I need to talk to myself. I need to speak the truth to myself in love and remind myself that I'm dearly loved. Then the other thing I have to realize is this: all that stuff is usually happening inside my head. The complaining, the grumbling, the arguing, the frustration, the agitation. How many times do I catch myself just inside my head? And I think, well, it's inside my head. Yeah, you know what that does for me? It blinds me to how I'm treating others. That I don't realize the stuff that's going on in my head comes out of my hands. It comes out of my eyes. Sometimes it leaks out of my mouth. But here's the other thing. It also keeps me from being alert of the needs of others, because I'm so consumed with what's in my head, complaining, arguing, grumbling, my anxieties. I'm so consumed with that I lose sight of what's going on around me. So when all that's happening, there's the next thing I have to do. I have to regularly bring my own fears and anxieties to God. I regularly bring my temper to God, regularly. Just hand it over to him. Cast my own anxieties on him, and trust that he cares for me. Reminding myself of the truth and love that he does care for me. I now cast them to him. I remind myself that I am his child. I remind myself that I have this wonderful eternal affirmation in him that I will be with him, and I am with him now, and I get to have the privilege of being like him now. And so I need to be at peace. I need to be cognizant. I need to be aware and alert of what's going on inside of me. Once having discovered those things, I need to regularly bring those to God and cast them upon him. Then and only then am I now alert and aware of what's going on around me, who's around me, and what their needs are. And now I can care for others, giving them the truth, reminding them of the truth, that God does care for them, sharing with them a story of God's meeting me in my own struggle. Now, all of a sudden, it's not about me, it's about them. And I can show them how this God, who is not an ogre, but does love us, who is not here to condemn us, but to bring peace, has done this in my life, even moment to moment. How he's given me peace in my circumstances, how he's allowed me to rise above the things that I've been struggling with. So I need to be at peace. I need to bring peace wherever I go. I need to be aware and alert of what's going on inside of me, and cast it upon God regularly. Just admit, hey, Lord, I need you. Here it is. I then will be alerted to others, and I can care for them where they are and share for them who God is in me and who I've been to him and how that has brought me peace. And here's a key. Listen, then I need to remain and be present with God, certainly, but also with others. We don't realize that a calming presence is contagious, especially when we have and are practicing peace, when we're loving peace and we're eager to bring peace. Sometimes when a person of peace walks in the room, what happens? Everything just seems to become tranquil or calm. All the anxieties, all the fears begin to dissipate. All the anger seems to go away. It's much like being so frustrated and ready, just kicking a stone or a can down the sidewalk. And all of a sudden we happen to catch out of the corner of our eye a daisy. God's smile to us. His invitation to just walk slowly and to be flexible and adaptable and to sway in the breezes. showing us what we are, showing us what we can be in the lives of others, showing us that he is the Prince of Peace, who brings peace and establishes peace and makes peace, loves peace, and invites us to be an oasis of peace in a world of trouble. May we be daisies today. May we be the smile of God. May we sway in the breezes of the circumstances around us, not being overwhelmed or overtaken or bent and broken, but in fact reminded that God does not break a bruised reed, neither does he snuff out a smoldering wick, but in fact, he brings life. He brings peace. He smiles. And we get to be the smile of God. Go be a daisy today. Have a good one, guys.